on the discussion of elementary matrix and elementary operation. And in the previous session, I have discussed what are elementary operations and what are its connection with elementary operation corresponding to matrix and corresponding to the system of equation. If you are thinking, so what I was saying just before the disconnection, I was saying that multiplying any row by any zero scalar simply doesn't mean anything. So you can ask me that why can't we write it? I can write, but it actually creates some sort of problem if it comes to the case of solving a system of equation. So the rule has been set for by keeping something in mind which we may encounter while dealing with problems. Once if I until and unless I discuss any problem, that thing will not be clear to us why that particular definition has been set in that particular way. Okay, only problems can tell us the why that is happening. But today we have just started our class, and therefore it's just a beginning, so gradually we'll be understanding this point. And very little we can understand by our simple experiences, that although I can add any scalar multiple of one row to another row, multiplying a row by a zero and adding it to another row actually doesn't change the system. Okay, so it's actually meaningless. And what operations we have performed with respect, what elementary operations we have performed with respect to rows, the same things will be applicable to the columns also. So therefore, I have not shown you how the columns are getting changed when we do something with the columns. But I did it intentionally. It's because when we talk about the system of solving equations, actually we do not change the columns. Okay, and if the columns are changed, that means something else. You will gradually understand. If I get chance, I'll definitely tell you. If I encountered such situations, I'll definitely tell you why actually the columns are not important over here. But when you talk about the system of solving equations, we actually interchange rows. We try to visualize things from the perspective of rows, not from the perspective of columns. So you will understand that. You just hold your breath and just keep listening. So we got to know that what is elementary matrix. Let me write the definition once again. Elementary matrix was that an n by n, an n by n elementary matrix, an n by n elementary matrix is a matrix obtained by, is a matrix obtained by performing
कौन है?
हम है हम है performing an elementary operation, performing an elementary operation on In. So an n by n elementary matrix is a matrix obtained by performing an elementary operation on In. Okay. So that I explained in the previous class. Now I'm going to deal with a theorem. The theorem will not be proved, but will be explained to you from the perspective of a problem. So very carefully write the theorem in your copy. Do not miss any word of the theorem, because every word stated in a theorem is carefully put over there. So if you try to add something, I mean, to the definition, some word, an extra word, you think if I write extra, then maybe the thing will be much more clearer. That concept is wrong. Just as it is given in the book, you try to copy it and try to memorize it in that particular way. Okay, so you have to be very careful about the wordings, because wrong wordings change the entire scenario. So what is the theorem says? Theorem is actually the theorem 3.1 I'm talking about of this chapter. let A belonging to M cross N F. Here comes our notations, which we learned in the topic chapter in the chapters 1 and 2. I am not going to explain what it means actually. And suppose that just hold on 1 second. Okay, so let A belonging to M cross N F, and suppose that B is obtained. B is obtained from A by performing an elementary row or column operation, then there exists an M by M, that is for row, or N by N, that is for column, elementary matrix E such that B is equal to EA or B is equal to AE. So probably you are understanding why I'm changing my colors, just to get you know that just to let you know that yeah, which things are connected to what. Row, this brown colored portions, row M by M, B equals to EA, they are connected. Green colored portion, column N by N, B equals to AE, they are connected. Okay. And in fact, E is obtained from IM or IN, okay, by performing same elementary row or column, sorry, I have to maintain what I started. Column operation as that which was performed on capital A to obtain capital B. And the theorem has some kind of addition also. They have written another line. This is being followed by another line. You can see it in the book, but I am writing it very briefly. So because that will, if I write the entire thing, that would kill the timing. So I'm writing the converse of the statement is also true. Converse of the statement is also true. Converse of the statement is also true. One student, Aniket, wrote something in the chat box. I actually missed answering his question, his query. So right now I can recall, suddenly it flashed in my mind that he wrote something. I read it, but then later I forgot about that thing. So if Aniket is listening to me, I must say that, okay, Aniket, I have understood your question. So you have asked me that. Uh, I am actually diverting from what the statement of the theorem right now, just to give the reply to that particular student, that you asked me that, sir, you told that if R1 changes, we write R1 minus R2, say, how, what will happen if I write R1 plus R2 on the right hand side? So shall I write R1 or shall I write R2? That was your question. Probably I'm right. So I can't disable the chat right now, because then student will start putting their attendance. So if this is your question, then I'll say that, okay, in that case, you have to write both. You can write both. R2 is getting changed or R1 is getting changed. But there is one point. There is one point that let me clarify that. Okay, so there is a kind of confusion, na? There is a kind of confusion about what to write. So let me talk about that properly. There should not be any kind of confusion. So whenever I'm writing R1 plus R2, you have to understand what do you mean by that. If you are meaning, if you're R1 plus R2, you mean that R1 minus of minus 1 R2, then you have to write that R1 getting changes to R2. Okay, so R1 changes. But by writing R1 plus R2, you actually mean that R2 plus R1, because addition, I mean, additions are what? Commutative. So R1 plus R2, you are saying that, no, sorry, it is R2 plus R1. Then okay, then you have to write it in this way, minus 1, R2 minus of minus 1 into R1. Then R2 changes. Probably in this particular case, in the matrix, nothing will actually change. Means nothing, I mean, changes. This change and that change will look similar to one another. Probably whatever you are getting in the first row, say for example, let us consider an example like 2 minus 1 and 1 1. Okay, now you are saying that this is R1 and this is R2. Now you are saying, sir, I'm considering that R1 plus R2. So what this means, that means your R1 is changing, so R2 will remain fixed, and that will become 3 and 0. Okay, now that is happening for this one. And now if you say, now sir, I am actually mean that, so what will happen? We will keep 2 minus 1 as same, and that will be written as 3 and 0. So the two operations are not actually same. They look very same because plus sign is there, but they are actually not same from the perspective of solving system of equation. Maybe we'll be getting the same answer, but approaches are different. Ultimately, all the students are going to converge to a particular answer. Same similar answer, but their way of approaching towards that is different. So just since you are doing higher mathematics, just don't say that R1 plus R2 is same. No, R1 plus R2 with respect to operations, if you mean this, that means you are putting this matrix into consideration. If you mean that, that means you are putting that matrix into consideration. So they are different, they are not same. Okay, so I must write here that meaning of what you are doing must be clarified. Must be clarified. Probably Aniket has got his answer. I'll get to know it from later on. Okay. Now look at this theorem. So you can ask me, sir, why have you written this particular theorem? Because we actually, this theorem is there in the book, and why are you wasting time? there may be some sort of busy students, he may ask me this question, why are you wasting time in writing this theorem? It is there in the book, but in the, my dear friend, you, the book, the colors are not given. So I wanted to show you that I wanted to show that these things are actually connected to one another, so that you can read it, you can understand it in a better way. And if you are writing this definition in your copy with different colors, red, black and blue, then actually you are doing very good thing. Okay, so you'll never forget this definition. I'm going to explain this theorem right now. This theorem, explanation of this theorem is very beautiful. Okay, but the proof is not actually required in this chapter. It's in section 3.1. No proofs are actually given. One theorem 3.2 has been proved, and many proofs have been left for the readers to study by themselves. So it is, I'm leaving it up to you. If you have time, if you love this subject, you do it. If you don't love this subject, forget it. Okay, I don't need it actually. So what does this theorem mean? And to understand the statement of the theorem, I have to consider a general matrix of any order, m by n. Okay, so let us consider it. So example, okay, now let my capital A is equal to a matrix I'm considering 2, 3, 1, 1, minus 1, 0. This matrix order is 2 by 3. Carefully listen to me. This matrix order is 2 by 3. Now I want to write an equivalent matrix. Equivalent matrix by performing an elementary row operation. Say elementary row operation. So let us do it. So this matrix is equivalent to what sort of row operation I want to perform? I want to perform a simple row operation. I am keeping R1 same, and I am multiplying R2 by 2. Okay, very simple operation I am doing. So 2, 3, 1 and 2 minus 2, 0. Fine. Okay. Now here the row, how many rows are there? The row is, number of row is 2 and number of column is 3. Very good. This is row and this is column. No problem. Now what is happening is that if you look at this particular statement of the theorem, they have said that if you are considering a matrix of order m cross n, okay, and if you are performing any elementary operation on this matrix, then this is actually similar to performing an elementary operation on the matrix I, identity matrix, with order equal to the row. So these are same, corresponding to the row operation. And if you have a matrix of order m cross n, and if you do anything on the column, so you have to do something on in, where order of this are connected. So just keep this diagram in mind. Now since I have used the row operation, so let us now consider an identity matrix of order 2, an identity matrix of order 2, which we denote by I2, which is denoted by I2. Now what operations I have applied? I have performed this operation. Keep in mind, I have performed this operation, and that is also an operation. This is also a kind of operation where I have not changed anything. So when we do not change anything, you are not changing a line in the program. That is also a kind of operation, because if someone asks me what changes you have made over there, you will say I have made zero change. So it is also an operation. So I am going to apply the same operation on I2. Apply the same operation on I2. Same operation on I2. So let us write I2. This is your I2, 1001. That is your I2. Very good. Now this is of order 2 by 2, and this is getting changed. What is being changed over here? 10, R1 remains same. So I'm writing R1 doesn't change. R1 actually remains same as R1, and we are multiplying R2 by 2. So we are writing 2R2. So this matrix, according to our definition, is a kind of elementary matrix. So let us name this elementary matrix as E. Okay. Now look at the theorem. The theorem says that B okay, B can be obtained in that case if I multiply A from if I multiply A by the right hand side. If I multiply A from the left hand side by E, we actually get B. So okay, let's see what is happening. So we are considering E on the left E first, and we are multiplying the matrix A from the left by E. What is the order of E? The order of E is 2 cross 2. What is order of A? The order of A is 2 cross 3. 2 cross 3. So since this 2 number of columns in the first matrix is same as number of row in the second matrix, so this multiplication can be done, and therefore we get what? So let us put this elementary matrix 1 0 and 0 2 on the left, and this matrix A on the right. So let us write the order, and this matrix on the right. So we get 2 3 1 and 1 minus 1 and 0, and if I multiply them, so that order is 2 by 3. So the resultant matrix will also be of order 2 by 3, and therefore we'll get 1 into 2 plus 0 into 1, that is 2. 1 into 3 plus 0 into minus 1, that is 3. 1 into 1 plus 0 into 0, that is 0. 1 into 1 plus 0 into 0, that is 1. 0 into 2 plus 2 into 1, that is 2. And 0 into 3 plus 2 into minus 1, that is minus 2. 0 into 1 plus 2 into 0, that is 0. What you are getting? You are getting the same thing here. So that is actually your B. So when we are actually performing an elementary row operation, the theorem is saying that when you are actually performing the elementary row operation on a matrix, it means that you are performing the identity matrix. You are getting an elementary matrix from the identity, and you are actually multiplying the original matrix by the elementary matrix. So if someone asks you what is the meaning of performing elementary operation, what is the meaning of performing elementary operation on a given matrix, then you must say that performing elementary operation on a given matrix is actually equivalent to getting one identity matrix and putting that same elementary operation on that and getting one out of that we can get one elementary matrix. If the original matrix is being multiplied by the elementary matrix, that is equivalent to performing the elementary operation on that matrix. So this long task that I have done over here, just look at the task, the tediousness of the task. First of all, I converted I into E, and then I multiplied A by E. That entire task actually been reduced to this simple elementary operation. We are actually on the back of this thing, we are actually doing this. So when you write a computer program, you know various softwares are there, na? Various softwares are there which can give you the rank of the matrix, because these things are connected to rank. Ultimately, gradually, I will come to that particular point. So you see that when we talk about rank of the matrix, I shall show in one of the classes that if I put something, a matrix into the software gives you the rank. But right now, I'm not going to show it to you. But you know that this kind of softwares exist. So if I so behind the screen, behind the software, there some algorithm is written. So how do people write those algorithms? If you are making a mathematical software, so how will you write that element, this particular algorithm, that one you are getting an equivalent matrix from another equivalent matrix? You are actually going to write this elementary operation, this algorithm. You are going to feed the computer with this algorithm, and that will design your equivalent matrices accordingly. So that is the base. That is the base which being a computer programmer, you shouldn't avoid. That is the base which you shouldn't avoid. So it is very important for you, very important for you. So you may ask me, you students often ask, what is the need of learning maths in computer? So that is the need. Now suppose, think about a person who doesn't know vector space, who doesn't know anything, he doesn't have any idea about subspace, who doesn't have any idea about dimension, he doesn't have any idea about linear transformation and matrix representation as well, and he is building this software, and some trouble appears in core logic. Suppose his algorithms, his syntax are all right, he will not be able to decipher it because he doesn't know where the error occurs. He will not be able to know where the error is. The error is not in the syntax, the error is in the concept. Probably he is multiplying A by E from the right hand side, and matrix multiplication is not possible if I interchange this position. Maybe he is doing that. So he has to understand, he has to know the theorem, otherwise he will try to multiply A from by E from the right hand side, and that is the kind of error which will be happening, and he will not get to see it, and he thinks he'll keep on thinking that where is the error, where is the error, where is the error, because he doesn't know the theorem. So that is why. And now you can ask me one question, sir. Okay, I understood that I have no vector space, I know subspace, I know dimension, I know matrix representation of linear transformation, everything I know. So what is the point in dealing this these problems in the exercise? So various types of difficult problems are there. Even you, sometimes you are also stuck in dealing with the problem, so you are giving the problem to us to generate a kind of mathematical thinking in you, a kind of logical sense in you, a kind of, if you keep on thinking, if you, the more things will be more clearer and clearer. And not only that, a good practice will be if you understand something and you try to explain that understanding to your friend. Your friend is stuck in a particular point and you are explaining, so this is happening, this is happening, that is happening. So that will be also beneficial for you. It's also always, practice makes a man perfect, and therefore if you keep on practicing, you will get to see that, yeah, the logical sense you are developing, and you will be a very good programmer. You can believe me or you cannot believe me, it is up to you. One more thing I'm going to show you. This will be my last session. I'm not going to take any other sessions in today's class because I have to go to college. So suppose I'm now considering a very simple matrix, say 2 1 1 minus 1. Okay, so this is a 2 by 2 matrix. This is my capital A. Like right now I'm considering a square matrix, and I'm going to perform an elementary column operation. I have not said anything about columns. So elementary column operation I'm going to perform. So let's see whether this theorem they have mentioned, whether it is applicable to this or not. Simple operation I'm going to perform, because I'm in a habit of putting difficult things for you and doing the non-difficult things by myself. Okay, so I'm interchanging, I'm interchanging the columns. Okay, so the columns have been interchanged. C1 has been interchanged to C2. The interchanging of any two columns can be made. So these simple operations I have performed. Matrix of order 2 by 2. Now look at this particular, since I have considered a square matrix. I might not have considered a square matrix, but you have to stick with the concept of the theorem. So here you have to look at the order of the column of the matrix. Now accordingly you choose your I2. This 2 doesn't come with respect to row. This 2 is actually coming with respect to column. When they said in the theorem statement that if you do column, then you have to consider in. So here 2 is actually n. Here this is m, this is also n. So here this n is related to 2, and I know that this 2 is what? This identity matrix. So interchange the identity matrix, interchange the columns over there. So this is equivalent to 0, 1 and 1, 0. This is your elementary matrix. Let us call it E prime. Now take your matrix A, take A and multiply A by E from RHS. When you talk about the columns, then E has to be on the right hand side of A. So we get AE. A's order is 2 by 2, E's order is also 2 by 2. You will understand that thing, why order is important, why I cannot keep E on the left hand side right now. If you consider a rectangular matrix, for square matrix this is not happening, so I am not showing you the one rectangular case has been shown to you, another rectangular case should be done by yourselves. I said nah, I keep always the easiest thing for myself and keep difficult things for you to digest. Okay, so this matrix is what? 2, 1 and 1 minus 1, and now here my E is actually E prime. Let us write it properly, E prime, and let us multiply this 2 by 2 matrix by this elementary matrix. So what you are getting, I am disabling the chat box right now, so you can put your attendance. So you can write your attendance over there in the chat box. Okay, so now multiply. So 2 into 0, 1 into 1, so we are getting 1. Okay, 2 into 0, 1 into 1, 2 into 1, 1 into 0, 1 into 0 minus 1. Oh, sorry, just a minute, what I've done. Yeah, okay, no problem. 1 into 0 minus 1 into 1, and that would not be, sorry, our multiplication is wrong. 2 into 0, 1 into 1, that is 1. 2 into 1, 1 into 0, that is 2. Sorry, that is 2. And 1 into 0 minus 1 into 1, that is minus 1. 1 into 1 minus 1 into 0, that is 1. So you see, 1, 2, minus 1, 1. 1, 2, minus 1, 1. That is your B. Which shows you that the operation, elementary operation which you have performed over here by interchanging the two columns, okay, is same as putting by taking a matrix, identity matrix of order similar to the order of similar to the value of the column, number of columns, doing the elementary operation, same elementary operation over there, getting an elementary matrix and multiplying the given matrix by the elementary matrix from the right hand side to get your converted matrix, your equivalent matrix. So this is all about the discussion on elementary matrix operation and elementary matrices, and all these concepts will be applicable to when we will be doing sums on finding rank and dealing with solving a system of equations, etc., etc. All these understanding will be needed. All these understandings will be needed. So this much I want to discuss for today's class. There will be no, after this session ends, there will be no further sessions. I'm not taking 3 sessions today. I'm taking only 2 sessions. Right now I have to get ready and go to the college. And now you see that one suggestion that if you ask me that, sir, some sections before the chapter 3, like sections we discussed till section 2.4. Okay, and after that there is a section called change of coordinate matrix, section 2.5. If you ask me, sir, if that section is important or not, change of coordinate matrix, section 2.5, that is tremendously important section from competitive examinations point of view, or algorithmic point of view, or the applications point of view. But this particular section is not there. This is not mentioned in your syllabus, so I didn't discuss it. Interested students can do chapter 2.5. Okay, change of coordinate matrix. Okay, so I'm leaving that for, and if they want to discuss the thing with me, I'll be always available. But officially it is not required. I hope that it is not required, but because if there is some crazy examination question setter who thinks that it is implied, you have to do it, then he can set questions. I do not have any kind of control on that. But at least I can say that section 2.6, which is called dual space, a star mark has been put over there. Okay, and section 2.7, which goes by the name homogeneous linear differential equations with constant coefficients. These two sections with star mark, you can avoid it. No questions will come from there. Sir, in previous question, why are you using two different arrow types in showing the operations? Two different arrow types means, what are you saying, Dheeraj Kumar? I didn't show two different arrow types. Where two different arrow types are there? Which part you are talking about? Dheeraj Kumar, can I mute your, what part you using? Previous example means, okay. Which part, you tell me? Here, I am showing my cursor. That part. I am moving my cursor. That part. You call me later. I'll explain it to you, because the class is going to get disconnected by automatically. Okay, okay. We shall discuss later on. So see you in the next class, that is on Friday. Oh, it is, this means both way. First one is means both way true. Second one means goes from left hand side to right hand side. I mean, this is not important. You just give a call to me later on in the evening. I will explain. So this much for today. We shall meet again on Friday. Time will be sent uh, mentioned later on. So today, probably you have understood everything. Keep on reading, and bye. See you in the next class.